Hi guys, my name is Emery, and in this video I'm going to show you books that I think you would like if you enjoyed watching or reading off campus. So first and foremost, if you have watched Off Campus but you haven't read it, I do highly recommend reading it because it is also just as good, and there are things that are different in the TV show compared to the books, so it'll almost kind of feel like you're reading it for the first time, but with like nostalgia, and you already know that you love the storyline. So I do highly recommend going and reading the story as well. Okay, so if you enjoyed hockey romance, I do recommend reading the Rules of the Game series. I've only read two, so I've read Shy Out and Offside. This one is a fake dating trope, and it is about a girl who just got dumped by her boyfriend of 2 years. So then she goes to a bar to kind of take her mind off of things, and she spots a dude who is her ex-boyfriend's like worst enemy. And so she's like, okay, perfect rebound. But then she ends up throwing up all over his shoes, and then he just kind of like ends up taking care of her, and like is not what she expected. She wants to kind of like forget about him and move on, but like he kind of has like other intentions with her, and then they end up fake dating to make her ex jealous. So if you liked the fake dating and off campus, this does have that, and it is, of course, hockey romance. Now, again, with more hockey romance, we have Shy Out. So this one is about a girl who ends up having to move in with her brother, and she's, like, not excited about having to live with, like, a bunch of hockey dudes, but she's, like, trying to make the best out of it. And then when one of the roommates walks in, she realizes that it's a guy that she hooked up with 2 months prior. So this one is forced proximity and also, like, brother's friend. So that is tropes in the off-campus series. So if you did enjoy that, that is in this book too. I love forced proximity romance books. They're like one of the best tropes, like one bed, enemies to lovers, forced proximity. I need it all. If you want a quick and easy sports romance read, I also recommend this one. It's called The Cheat Sheet. So this one is a ex-ballerina and a football player, and it is friends to lovers. It's about a girl, Bree, who opens up a dance studio, and she has a crush on her long-term best friend, and she's too scared to tell him, but she ends up talking to someone. So she doesn't realize that the person that she was talking to is actually a TMZ reporter, and then there ends up being news articles about her and her best friend that say that they're dating, even though they're not, and he doesn't even know how she feels. So then before that she's even able to tell him what's going on or about her feelings, his publicist decides that they should fake date because it will look good for him. So then it's like friends to lovers, fake dating. So again, if you enjoyed sports romance or the fake dating, it does have those, and it's also friends to lovers, which I love a good friends to lovers as well. If you love sports romance and maybe want to try something different from hockey or football or baseball, this is actually a swim romance book, and it's about a girl named Scarlett and a guy named Luke. So Luke recently broke up with his ex, or they mutually agreed, honestly can't remember, but they agreed to break up. And he wants to see other people, but they also don't want the whole team knowing that they broke up because they don't want it to be like this like whole big thing. So he meets Scarlett and finds out that Scarlett has a crush on him, and they start seeing each other in secret. And I don't really know how much more I can say without spoiling it, but it's really good. Ali Hazelwood never disappoints. All her books are fantastic. Another classic sports romance series that we have is the Windy City series. If you haven't read any of the books in this series, read them. Most people have probably heard of Mile High. I feel like this is a really popular one. It was the first book that came out in this series. If you liked this one, I promise you the other ones are even better. I can't even tell you which one was my favorite because I loved all of them so much. But in case you haven't read this one, it is about a flight attendant named Stevie and a hockey player named Xanders. This series is really good. It has a lot of found family, so if you like that aspect in Off Campus, this is 100% in here because they're all interconnected standalones. But yeah, this one's forced proximity, sort of like enemies to lovers-ish. That's honestly all. I read this book when it like first came out, so I really honestly like don't remember much else. I just remember being obsessed with it, but I recently read the rest of this series because I just never gotten around to it. I really love this entire series, but the only other one I'm going to talk about today is Rewind It Back because it's the only other physical version of the book that I own, which this is clearly the new cover, and I also have the old indie cover. This one is friends to lovers to enemies to friends to lovers. So, complicated, but I love it. It's about a girl named Hallie, a guy named Rio. Hallie is an interior designer, and she just renovated a house for one of her friends that she actually ends up moving in for, and her friend tells her that her next door neighbor needs someone to renovate his house. So she agrees to do it, and when she meets up with the guy, she finds out that it is Rio, her childhood ex-best friend slash boyfriend, and he like doesn't want to see her. She doesn't really want to see him, but she knows it's a good job opportunity for her. So she is designing the house for Rio, and I think he's on the baseball team. There's baseball and hockey in this series. Forced proximity, enemies to lovers, sports romance. I love this book so much. Off Campus is new adult. If you want adult sports romance, this is your series right here. When I tell you that this is my favorite contemporary romance series out there, like, I love this series with all my heart, and every single book was so good. The first one that she wrote is called The Fake Out. This is her most popular one, I think, because it's obviously her debut in the series. Again, hockey romance, fake dating, enemies to lovers. Hazel wants nothing to do with Rory. She doesn't like him because of how he acted in high school, but he's actually secretly had a crush on her since she tutored him, which, get it? Tutoring, captain of the hockey team, fake dating. Moving on, we have Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. Oh, this is about a guy named Jamie and a girl named Pippa, and they also knew each other since high school. Jamie used to have a crush on Pippa when she was in high school, but now she's become his assistant and his roommate, and he has a rule of no dating, and he doesn't want to break it, but then he finds out that her ex never made her like. So he's determined to change her idea of what stuff in the bed could be like. Okay, moving on. This one honestly might be my favorite. This one's called The Wingman. It is friends to lovers, and it ended up being my favorite in the whole series. The Wingman is about a girl named Darcy, and her boyfriend, or maybe fiance, I can't remember, one of the two. They broke up, and he sucks. He was a complete idiot the whole time they were dating. So she basically has no idea what like a good relationship looks like, but she wants to try and move on from her past. So when she moves in with Hayden, who's agreed to let her stay with him because he wants her to be able to get back up on her feet while she's going through this breakup, and he wants to also just help cheer her up. So Hayden decides that he's going to help Darcy kind of learn how to become like sort of like a player, and he is basically being her wingman. But then as that's happening, he starts to fall for her. Also, standalone, interconnected, so you hear bits and pieces of the other characters throughout the rest of the books. So you can read them in any order. I read them in order. I recommend doing it in order just so you don't spoil any possible couples on who's going to get together. You need to read the first three before you read the fourth one, which is called Gloves Off. This one is Enemies to Lovers. This was probably my second favorite. So this one is about a girl named Georgia and a guy named Alexi, and they're enemies to lovers, and we know this because we've heard this in the other books. And they agree to do a marriage of convenience because he's going to get taken off of his NHL team. I think he's German, and he doesn't have like a proper visa, or like it's expiring, or there's like special terms that he could like live on and it's not going to work anymore. So they agree, have a marriage of convenience, but they completely hate each other when they do this. So we watched that unfold. That's really all I need to say about this book. It's Forced Proximity, Enemies to Lovers, Marriage of Convenience. Now we have the Wild Card, which this one just came out this year. I think it was in February. It might have been January. Wild Card is about a girl named Jordan, and she's a new staff member on the hockey team, which is the hockey team that all the other characters are on. And it is a romance book between her and the coach of the team, who is a single dad. So it's age gap, single dad, forced proximity, enemies to lovers. So they both don't really like each other, or more so he doesn't like her, so then she doesn't like him because he doesn't like her. And Jordan's dad owns the hockey team, and he says that he wants to sell it to someone else because he's not really like in it anymore. So she has to step in to sort of get her dad to like it again because she doesn't want her dad to sell the team because it could go to like bad owners essentially. So she ends up actually moving in with the coach and staying in his guest house. I honestly can't remember the reason why. I think it was something to do with her dad saying that like if she has this job and she like needs to move here that she should just live with him. I can't remember, even though I just read it. And I do really like age gap and single dad tropes if they're done right, and this one is done right. I apologize for the lighting. I need to get a ring light because I don't have one, and my book room, it has no windows. There's no natural light in here, and I just have the like really bad old lights that are in here. So those are the ones that I have for today. I don't want to make this video too long. I hope you enjoyed today's book rack video. Let me know if you guys want more sports romance books, or if you want more like specific book recommendation videos.